Due to injuries, we got some more stashed running backs to look at here for week 8. One big one is Devin Neal of the New Orleans Saints. Kendre Miller is now out for the season. Devin Neal steps right up, and he's got an amazing prospect profile from college that you need to look at. And once you see the data, you're going to understand that this could be a diamond in the rough that could strike if an injury happens to Alvin Kamara. Before we dig in, though, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're doing deep dives like this every single day on as many players as possible. So when something like this happens, you know a little bit more about that player so you can make the decision for yourself whether or not you want to pick them up. Or if you got to pick them up 3 weeks from now, you know a little something about them. Click that button. Stop missing out. But Kendre Miller, a prospect that we liked, a stash play that we are stashing, is out for the season. He's been looking good on a small sample. He's done for the year. And the next man up is Devin Neal. So we're going to have to see if he can take over that spotlight and see if he can gain some steam, because Alvin Kamara has been looking good. He's been getting work. He's been getting opportunities. He's been hitting in fantasy about every other game to the fairway at least. And that's something to note. And he's been a mainstay in this offense. But Devin Neal here enters the chat. Many people don't know who he is. Big fantasy football won't tell you much about him. They don't study college football. They don't study high school football recruiting. They don't watch the tape. They know a little bit, maybe just from watching my channel even. But Devin Neal is a prospect to pay attention to big time because he's got a good profile out of Kansas. You'll see it once we dig into the numbers, but he was a 4-star prospect in the rankings, ranked RB14 in his class in 2021. Not many offers listed, but he got more than that. But Iowa, Nebraska, he had a market for him coming out. The composite had him as a 3-star, ranked 28th among running backs. But once we got to Kansas, we hit the ground running. We led the team in rushing. 707 yards, 8 touchdowns. If you play Devy fantasy football, that's where you roster college players for Dynasty or Campus to Canton. You know this player. You know this guy. You've been rostering him for years. He led this team in rushing for 4 straight seasons. That is very hard to do. 3 straight seasons of over 1,000 yards. That is very hard to do. Usually you get 2 and they're out for the draft. He stayed another season to rush for 16 touchdowns, 1,200 more yards, catch 24 balls. This guy was productive. We thought he was going to come out in last year's draft. He stayed another year. He's a good running back prospect, good vision. He's good between the tackles. He's good in open space. You see that in the yards after catch per reception, 10.8 last year, 10.6 the year prior, 10.3 on his career. Yards after contact, 3.73 last year, 3.63 the year prior. And those heavy seasons with over 200 carries, 3.34 on his career. So he's good. He's a stout running back prospect. These numbers are no joke. Not many running backs just come in out of high school. You saw where he was ranked, not super high, but kind of high for Kansas. Comes in, takes over the backfield, say, hey, that's mine, and just takes it for 4 years. 3 seasons of over 1,000 yards rushing. This is a good running back prospect. Remember, this year's draft was deep at the running back position. I told you earlier this year, going into the season, like you see Ja'Cory Crosskey-Merritt, I know you guys are excited about him. There's going to be a lot of them this year. This is a deep, talented running back class, the deepest class of all time. I'm not lying. Now you got Devin Neal here. Falls to the 6th round. We got late round picks here that can do stuff at the NFL level. They just need to fire and get their opportunity. He didn't kill at the combine. That's what a lot of Dynasty fantasy football aficionados didn't like about him. But still, 52nd percentile in 40-yard dash time, 54th in speed score. So he's a little bit like a nut hair above average there. First score, 83rd percentile. So he's explosive. That is from the jumping metrics. The long jump, the high jump. Those are measured together. 5'11", 213, has some good size to him. The one thing I want to point out that this team had some gatekeeper running backs there. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then also Cam Akers. He kept his job. He kept his job. He was a 6th round pick. They did not have to keep him. That's not enough sunk cost to keep the rookie over gatekeeper running backs. That was the test. He kept his job. He looked good at training camp. He had some opportunities there and he took it. Looked solid. Now you're looking at this depth chart. Kendre Miller, no. Velus Jones, former wide receiver, converted to running back, hasn't done anything during his career. We know about Alvin Kamara. Audric Estime, another running back to pay attention to. Another running back. Like a tandem between him and Devin Neal. College football lore in this backfield if something happens to Alvin Kamara. That would be college football lore because he was massively productive at Notre Dame. Big running back prospect, not super fast, but agile for his size. Good feet for his size. Audric Estime is fun. Alvin Kamara's always been fun. You notice this chart here in the production, and it's kind of doing this. You notice that? You want to say Father Time, but you also want to say the Saints, they only got one win on the season. But the thing about this is they got one win on the season. Are they going to ship them off? We got 2 more weeks till the trade deadline. That's one thing to note here. They don't have anything behind them, but they also have nothing to shoot for right now anyways. He's 30 years old. And the thing about this, he's explosive. He's getting the rushing attempts, the targets out of the backfield, but he's still running back. And running backs go down at a higher rate compared to a lot of other positions due to the pounding they get. That is something to note, and Devin Neal's the next man up. Velus Jones has done nothing on his career. He's fast. He's got great size to match that speed, but still he's done nothing on his career. He's always been a raw prospect. He's 28 years old. He's kind of like Cordell Patterson, but the great value version, like not productive. Also from Tennessee, that's something to note. Velus Jones, though, you might want to watch him just in case they get a wild hair. Audric Estime, big time prospect from Notre Dame. Had a little bit of production last year with the Broncos. It wasn't good enough. He wasn't good enough last year. He's not an explosive player. He's slower. He can get up to speed, but he does not have the pop in his step. But he does have the production profile from Notre Dame, yards after contact per attempt, the vision, the slickness in the feet to carve out a role in a deeper league, 16, 18, 20, 22 plus. Deeper benches, you're thinking about this. Traditional 12-team league, just know the name. Just know it. Maybe go watch some Notre Dame clips. You'll see what I'm talking about. Just know the name just in case. It could be the Trey Sermon effect where it's a running back that's not overly talented. And you can say the same with Devin Neal or any other running back that gets anointed. Trey Sermon effect from last year, 3 to 4 games you're hitting to at least the fairway. Now, you don't want that, but still, that's some sort of value that you can capitalize on if you can play your matchups. You're looking at the true yards per carry, breakaway run rate, yards created per rush attempt. He's hanging. 1.33 yards created per rush attempt, not really. True yards per carry, 3.33. This is on a small sample. As the samples get bigger, you'll start seeing the true colors. That's the thing about players in general. Small sample, the numbers can be skewed one way or the other. And you're seeing Kendre Miller, he was rocking solid. He's beating Alvin in true yards per carry and yards created per touch. Breakaway run rate, a little bit lower, but still a larger sample, it might change that. You're also looking at snap share here. Devin Neal, 5.1% over Velus Jones. Kendre Miller was seen at 23.5%. That being said, Devin Neal could push for that. He could push to around 20-25%. I don't see why not when I look at the prospect profile. What he did at camp by keeping those gatekeepers at bay, that is the testament to his story, is when you got gatekeepers in camp and you beat them as a rookie. And it's different. Bo Nix beat out gatekeepers in camp and became the starter. We saw what he did in his rookie season. We see this down the line, beating out the gatekeepers in camp. And sometimes it's a coaching issue. Like they got a scarcity mindset. They operate from that. They're holding on tight to those gatekeepers. And then a lot of other times, you see a guy like Devin Neal, they beat him out. Route participation rate, not too far off from Kendre. Opportunity share, 3.5. But Kendre pushing 30%. Pushing a 30% opportunity share. And you're looking at this. Rush share. Kendre was getting a 26% rush share. we might get up to 15 to 20%. They're going to see what they got in Devin Neal. They should. What do they have to lose? What, not making the Super Bowl? What do they got to lose? Now, if they start messing around with Velus Jones and stuff like that, they might get that Arthur Smith wild hair. He's also averaging 3.3 yards per carry on 3 attempts. So I don't know if that means anything to the coaching staff from what they saw in the small sample, but sometimes small samples affect you psychologically. So that's something to pay attention to. But the opportunity share is there. I doubt they want Alvin Kamara getting Kendre Williams touches, that workload. I don't think Alvin Kamara wants it at 30 years old. I think he likes his workload where it's at, plus 3.6 yards per carry. We're starting to see the impact here. We're also seeing a 30% opportunity share. Kendre was at 13. This is per Rotovich, so it's a little bit different from Player Profiler. And you're also seeing 5 targets on the year, 2% target share. A lot of targets going to Kamara, which it should be. You're seeing the workload. This could go to Devin Neal. This could end up going to Devin Neal. Like, Kendre Miller has been in the doghouse with his team a few times. Different coaching staff now and stuff. But he's been in the doghouse due to injuries before. Devin Neal stepping up with a good prospect profile here that was at a discount. No sunk cost invested in him, so they don't have to push him. But also, this is a running back here that has good production from college. You're looking at the schedule. It doesn't matter to me. It does matter to a degree because all those L's, eventually you're going to have to experiment. Maybe you make that trade. Like, you really should. You're taking all those L's. You got to get capital somewhere else if you can swing it. But when you're looking at this, you're looking at a depth chart here that you can experiment with once you get later into the season. Once we get deeper, double-digit weeks, maybe you see him get the touches. Maybe we can say at least it's the Trey Sermon effect, where he hits once every 3 to 4 games. And we don't like it game to game to game, but the person that strategizes it appropriately or throws them in a dire situation, maybe they hit. Maybe they look good. Why you need them? It's another lottery ticket at running back. You might be good. You might have your Kyle Money guy or somebody else. You don't have to pick them up right now. But if you lost Kendre Miller and guys like Kyle Money guy or some of the other top stashes aren't there, like a Jaden Blue or whatever, maybe you go this route. Maybe you do. The risk is that he never gets his chance. Audric Estime could come in and look good. This is a backfield that could turn over. This is a team that could just suck. Alvin Kamara could just get so much work. They could be like, well, we're paying Alvin Kamara anyways. Let's give him all the touches. That's your risk. But there's limited risk on the last spot of your roster for a stash. However, there's other stashes. I will do a stash video like I do on every Thursday tomorrow at the running back position. So make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on that as we reorder our stashes for the week. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.